Welcome to part 2 of this video. Here we see the page we will be creating, the About Us page. You see the header is also set up with the socials on top, and if you scroll down you see it becomes sticky and changes a bit the layout as well. Now we have a section underneath with some margin and padding that we have to set up, and on the bottom we have a footer that's also been set up and a subscribe part as well. So let's dive right into it. First we have to create the new page, so this will be the About Us page. So you go to Pages on the left hand side and then you click on Add New. We're gonna type About or About Us or whatever you want to call this page and click on Publish, so we have this one already live. And then we're going to open this up in a new tab so we can see live what we're doing. Now it will be, whoops, this is a little mistake. So you see this is just a blank page now because we haven't put in anything from content. The top section here, we're going to use the same one as the home section. So if I open up my home page, you see here this hero section with the background of the mountains. We're going to use the same layout to start off with our About Us page, and it's an easy thing to do because we can copy paste. This is really awesome. So you just open the home page, we're going to select the row layout, you see it here, or if you're doubting you click on this and you see again we have the row layout selected. And then you click on the three dots and you do copy block. And then we open up our About Us page, select the cursor here and then Command V, this is paste, and you see immediately it is pasted in, and everything, also the responsiveness, all the settings that we have set up already are also coming with it. So this is really awesome. Of course the text should be changed, so we're going to say About Us here, and then we're also going to change the subheading, and we're going to add the typing text effect that we also did on the home page, where the word adventure that you see now is going to be changing to maybe 4 different words. So let's make a capital here, and then we select adventure, and we're going to click on the arrow down and then type text, and then you can put in the additional strings that you want it to change with. So this can be whatever you want. You can also leave this as it is, of course, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to put in some words that it can change the adventure with, and maybe one more. There we go, relaxation, add string, and then we have the 4 words that will continuously change. So if we refresh, you see immediately we have this section already almost finished, but you see on top we still have this space left, so we have to go to the page settings on top here and enable our transparent header, and this way it goes across. If you like the white header, or you like the header not to be transparent, you can of course leave the white border if you like it more. Yeah? Then let's open up our block settings again, and we're going to change the background image so it's not exactly the same. I have the instant images plugin that I'm using. Search for mountain or mountains, and click on enter, and then we'll just have a selection. You will see on a little bit lower that the image that we used for the hero, the homepage, there it is also here, but let's select maybe this one, let it import, and then click on select, and now we have our background. We have to set up the overlay a bit more because this is too white, maybe too light, so I'm gonna go to the classic overlay and then change the 30 so to maybe 45 or a little bit more, yeah, like this. Click on update and refresh and see if this is readable enough. I think this looks fine to start with. Let's add a new row layout underneath now. So we click on the blue plus icon, or it becomes blue if we click on it, then row layout, select the 1 column one, and in this one we will be creating the main content section where we have 4 blocks, each time with a heading and a text, and then we're going to add some margin and padding to make them a little bit more fancy. So we start with an H2, just write a little bit of text to have some replacement text for the header. We're going to change maybe the font size a little bit more to the extra large one, I think. Yeah, this is fine. And then underneath I'll add another advanced text block and then change this to the paragraph one. So we have normal text, and then just maybe paste in some lorem ipsum text. So I'll open this up in a new tab, and then I'll just copy paste some lorem ipsum. So we have a lot of lorem ipsum generators. Here is one of them. Just Google it and you will find it, and then you just copy paste some some text. If you have real text, of course, use your real text. This is just to have some filler text like this. Then I want a border on the right side as well. For the border, we have to go to the overlaying section. So I select it here, then go to the style tab, go to the border settings, and I'll have to uncheck the blue icon there on the right side. So we can select only the right border to be 5 pixels and select the greenish color to set it up. And I click on update and we'll refresh the page, but you'll see now this is not looking too nice because we don't have any padding or margin set up. So this is the next thing we'll do. For that, I'll go to the section again. So if I go to the section and I'll open up the advanced tab, then you see the padding and margin are here. I click on the little icon over here, and this allows me to change the pixel to percentages, and I can set up my right percentages to 45, for example. So this means there is a margin of 45% from the right side, like this. Then I want a bit more space between the border and the text, so I can do this by setting up some padding on the right side as well. I can drag this across to use the setup values. Maybe a extra large padding is going to be fine. Update and then refresh again. There we go. So we have something set up now. You see there is a bit more space. We'll adjust this maybe a little bit later on to make it a little bit more nice. I can again now click on duplicate. This is going to duplicate exactly the same block, so I don't have to set it up again. Of course, the layout is going to be the opposite, so we have to change the border from right to left and also the margin again from right to left and the padding as well. So that's what we're going to do now. Change the name to DOS, so it's the second one, and then we're going to change the section, the styling tab, and then we go to the border. Gonna go to 0 on the right side and go to 5 on the left side, and then change the color to the green. And then we'll have to do the same thing now for the margin and padding. So we go to the advanced, we're gonna go delete this and then go to the left side and make it 45. And then padding, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go to it looks weird now, but it will look fine in the live preview. This is going to be 0, and then we're gonna go to the left and do the same thing. But first check it here. You see this works, even though in the live preview it's looking really weird. So just the padding now, gonna do the extra large on the left side. Click on update and we'll see in the live preview now. This works perfectly fine. Okay, and now we can duplicate number 1 again, because number 3 and number 1 will have the same layout, and then we can duplicate number 2, and then that will be the same as number 4, just the text will be different, but the layout will be the same. Some extra padding will be nice again, because I like a little bit more white space between the start of the section and the beginning of the text. And we'll put some percentage bottom margin as well, so a small number like 5 will probably be enough to have a little bit more space between the two text blocks. So you see there's more space on top and there is also more space in between now. Then duplicate again, like I said. So this one, oh, this is the wrong one, let's remove it. We go to the first one and we're going to select the first section here, and we're going to duplicate this one. And then with the arrows we can switch it to the bottom position like this, and now it's exactly the right spot with the same bottom margin, padding, everything is already fine, so we normally wouldn't have to do anything. Let's refresh and you see it immediately works. There is no margin bottom on the second one, so we have to fix that. Advanced, right, no, bottom 5% as well, so there is some space between the two blocks. You will see now there is a bit more room like this. One thing I don't like, or I think I'm going to change, is change the margin to 40% instead of 45. So there is a little bit more overlap between the different sections. So let's dive in. Let's go to here and go to 40 instead of 45. Click on update, refresh the page, and yeah, I think this will look more like I want it to. So let's change the other ones as well. Go to the first one, go to advanced and make it 40 as well. And then click on update again, and now we will see how it overlaps. Yeah, I like this more, but it's maybe personal, but if you like it also, you can see to change this to 40 instead of 45. So the last one as well, 40 instead of 45, and then there is one thing left to do, and it says duplicate one more block, so we have to numero dos will duplicate now, and then we have we'll scoot it over one level, so we have our fourth block ready to go. So select it, 3 dots, duplicate, and then with the arrows go one level below. And then we have our fourth block installed. Normally all margin and bottom stuff would be okay by default because it's just an exact copy like that. And you see our section, main content section, looks fine, is completely okay. Okay, then we still need to remove the bottom margin here. So we don't need it on the last block because it's the last one, there is nothing underneath. So this is gone, and then we can change maybe the last section here. This is wrong, this is going to be removed as well. So now we have everything set up. We have to change the padding to the same padding on top. This was 4 times large, so we'll do the same here, and then change the text here to quattro. So we have all our headings and our padding set up for the row layouts. And this is looking fine. Let's refresh. And you see this is looking completely like I want it to. Okay, now we're going to add one section underneath. For this I'm just going to copy a block from the home page. On the bottom here we have the subscription or the subscribe part, this one. I'm going to copy this block, so I'm going to open up the page by clicking on edit, and then inside of the page we're going to select this row layout block, click on copy, and then we're going to paste it in the about us page. So copy block, it's selected, go to the other page and then paste it in here. I have to make sure the cursor is inside. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to make it a bit smaller, so it's just like a really small block that's just for people to have a subscription or to make them subscribe, but nothing too fancy, and a little bit smaller than the one on the front page of the website. Okay, we also might want to set this up so it's the same amount of padding on the top and on the bottom. Let's refresh and see how it looks on the page. And there we go with the page. Yep, and go down. And here we are. Yeah, I might want to remove the heading and the divider as well, maybe, just to make it a really non-intrusive small block. Oh, this is stripping. Let me close the sidebar. Yep. Okay, now it's working. Let's remove the advanced text block and also remove this divider block. And then we click on update again. Let's refresh the page. Okay, it's looking fine, but maybe the text is not readable enough for me, so might want to do the background overlay. We select the row layout and make it a bit more dark, the overlay. Go to 70 or 75 maybe, like that. Update, refresh. So I'm just doing some stuff here. This is all just what if you don't like this look, you can of course do your own thing, just to show you what is possible. Okay, and I think we have our page as good as set up now. Perfect. Yeah, the next thing we have to do now is make the header look nice. We go inside of the customizer, and here it's really easy to set up our header. We can go to the little icon you see on top and click on it, or you can also go on the left hand side and click on header to access the settings of the header. So let me click here, and then we open up the settings, or we click there. And then you see there are 3 rows. We have a main row, we have a top row, and we have a bottom row, and you can use them all 3, or you can use one of the 3 if you want to. And individually you can set up the styling of these rows, but you can also do a general styling of the whole header. So now we're inside of the main row, inside of the left hand side where the logo is, or our text in our case. So we can change the color, and we can change the font size, we can change everything we want. If there is a logo there, then you have to of course adjust the logo and the colors of your logo to match with the theme, but I'm just using text, so I'm gonna change the font size a little bit so it's more readable, and also a little bit the color is also more suitable for this header. Yeah. Then full height underline, this is the effect. If I hover over, you see there is a line coming underneath the text, and then we can also change the text on the right hand side. Let me first open this up in a new page. So now you see the demo is good, but the right hand side is not readable at all, so we might want to change some stuff there. And also, this is not the real menu. We still haven't set up a menu, so we have to do this later as well. So we change this to the greenish colors, so this is more readable, and we go from the little bit lighter tint of green to the little darker green, although it's not going to be super obvious, I think. If you hover over, there's a slight difference, but it's not too much. You see here that it's a little bit more obvious, but I want to change the font as well. Go to my Oswald font, my heading font, and we're also going to change the font size a bit and the font weight. This is the weight, so it makes it bold, and the size is over here, so it's a bit more readable. And then letter spacing is increasing the space between the individual letters. You will see if it increases the distance between them, so this makes it a bit more obvious to see. Let me see, this looks nice. Let's click on publish and then see how it looks in real life here. Yep, this looks fine. But now you see about and home are in the opposite directions. This is something we have to fix by setting up a menu. We can do this also in the customizer by clicking on the primary navigation on the right hand side. Select menu here, and you will see that there is no menu set up. So the primary menu, we create a new one. You can call this whatever you want. This can be the main menu. And then you select which pages. By clicking on add items on top, you can say which items should be added to this menu. So my home page, this is the first one, and about this is the second one. So this will determine the order as well. And you see it's immediately changed the order of the pages. So this looks nice. Okay. We can do something with the top row as well. You see this, we have some options left. So if you go to the top row and we add the socials, you see some icons popping up. You can choose which icons, and you can also set up the styling of these icons. If we go to the design tab on the right, you'll see we can set the filter outline, we can set some colors. You can also use the brand colors, whatever you like. You can change everything according to your needs. And inside of the customizer, if you have set up your social links, they will automatically direct the user to the right page as well. So this is what we have now on the home page. So we also want to make it a sticky header. So this means that when I scroll down, that the header stays sticky on top. You see it here on the bottom, sticky header, and you can choose which part of the header needs to be sticky. So I don't want the socials to be sticky, only the main row should be sticky. And then this will, you can also make it shrink. By default it's 60 pixels. This means that if there is a really high header standard, then when you scroll down you can set the shrink height to whatever you want. You will see now if I set it to 5 pixels, you see that it shrinks too much because this looks really weird. So you have to be a bit careful, just play around with the values, click on publish and then check on your page how it looks, and then you will see if it looks nice or not. The cool thing with the sticky header is that you can also set up the layout of the sticky header individually, so you can make the colors of this look different. So if we go to the design of the sticky header, you will see that we can set up all colors here. So I can say the title now should be in black, and you see it immediately, it changes. Also the links of my menu should be in different colors, so also possible. And then the background, now it's like a white color, so you can also set it to be more transparent. This means that it's more see-through. So if we go to the slider here, you see it makes it more see-through, and again, this is according to what you want and what you need. You can play around with it. You click on publish, you refresh your live page, and then you have a look on how it looks. So there are tons of options that you can do to make your sticky header stand out a little bit more. So you can set a border as well, like I'm doing now, and you see there is a little line coming, sorry for the noise, there's a little line coming across. So all different options. This is just what you like. You see it becomes sticky, you have a little line, white line on the bottom. Maybe this is a little bit too transparent, so I might want to increase this a bit more so it's more obvious that there is a header on top. So if I remove the border and then go to my background again and do the slider a bit more, so it's a bit more less transparent. So it's, yeah, this looks already a bit better, maybe a little bit more like this. So there is still see-through, but it's now obvious that there is a transparent header. Let me refresh. Yeah, I like this more. But again, this is personal. You can do whatever you want. You can also don't use sticky header, of course. And this is on the other page, also looking fine Okay, nice work. Let's now start with the footer. You can do tons of options. Again, for the footer it's the same thing. You can click on the little blue icon, but you can also go to the general menu here and go to the footer tab, the third one, and this opens up the same menu, the footer one. Yeah. There are tons of options. I'm going to keep it quite simple. I will do a future video where I do more in-depth header and footer explanation. I have done some in the past as well, where I have made really awesome headers that are not as standard as this one. So you can check them out if you want to. So you see here I've changed the background. I'm setting up the copyright section. You can you remove what you don't want. For example, if you don't want people to know which theme or which year or whatever, you can remove this altogether, but you can keep it like this as well. You can set the alignment. I always do this because sometimes you will notice that something, if you use icons, they don't always align perfectly well if you don't enable the alignment like I did now. We are now inside of the options of the top row. So you see you have 3 rows, top row, middle row, and a bottom row. It's the same actually as the header. You also have 3 rows there, and you can individually each row set up some things. So you see these are the options available, the general design and the general options and the design options for each row. You can click on the plus and then you can see what this is, the free theme. So these things are available, and in the top row I'm adding the footer navigation. If you click on it, you see we don't have one. So by default it will import some pages that you have, but we don't have a footer menu made. If we select the main menu, it will be our main menu that we just created. But if we want a custom footer menu, we can create a footer menu from here as well. How can we do this? We go back to menus and we can create a new menu here. And I will call this footer, for example, because often in the footer you will see the cookies and the privacy policy that are inserted inside. So we're going to create some pages just for demo purposes. They will contain no content, but I'll call it privacy policy, and then also one going about the cookies. And then you will see the privacy policy is already inserted. And then we go for the cookies. So that's often something you see at the bottom of the page, some extra menu that contains some info about those. Click on publish and you see it's inserted now. Yeah. The thing we need to do now is see again for the spacing. So if we click on the options of the navigation, you see we can change some options here. We can this is the general settings that I'm in. If I click on the key icon, now I'm in the footer. You see if we click on the align options, you see this changes how it's aligned inside of the column that it's in. I've done the content vertical align as well. You will see in a minute. If I don't do this, especially with icons, it might be a bit out of line. Yeah? Other things you can do is just set up the font, set up the colors individually. You can always set this up here if you want to. Okay. The other thing we're going to add now is going to scoot this over to the middle row and this one as well, so it's all going to be in the same row. You see this is just drag and drop, works perfectly fine. And then we might add also our socials here again. So if you click on the plus again, you see which options we have available. With the pro version of the theme you have more options, of course, but this is also fine for most websites. And now you see the icons that they don't align nicely, and that's why we have to click on the content vertical align here, and now it will be in line with the text of our copyright and our privacy policy and cookies. Okay. Click on publish, we have our footer created. Click on refresh and you see it works perfectly fine. The only thing that's now not right, you see on top privacy policy and cookies is also inserted inside of the menu. That's of course not what we want, and that's because I've enabled an option in the beginning when I created my menu. My main menu, I have to select it on top here. Now the footer menu is selected. I go to my main, click on select, and now you see my privacy policy and cookies are inside of here. Why is that? Because the automatically add new top level pages to this menu option is enabled. And this means that every time you create a new page, a top level page, it will automatically add it to the menu even if you don't want it to. So here I'm going to save the menu. I have manually removed it and also disabled the option to add them automatically, and that will fix the menu. So you see, this was the second location where you could change your menus. You can also do it from within the customizer, of course. The other thing that I want to fix is this white space now. You see there is a white space between the footer and the end of the content. I can do this by go to my general settings like we did in the beginning. If we go to the posts pages layout, we go to the page layout, and then we go to the general settings. I'm now in the design tab. Yep. And we go to the content vertical padding. You see bottom only is enabled, and if I disable this, you see the vertical padding is gone, and now there is no space between the footer and the start of the content or the end of the content. You will see on the homepage this is not right, and that's because you see here the white space is still there. That's because I've overwritten my customizer settings by here in the page settings. You will see that I've enabled bottom only. This overrides the settings from the customizer. If I pick default, it will inherit what I've just done in the customizer. This means the vertical padding has been removed. Okay, perfect. So we have actually done most of the work. The only thing we now can do is increase the size of the footer. For example, we can make sure that the footer is a little bit bigger. For example, you can do this inside of the menu here, where you can go inside of the middle row settings, for example, where we can set up some spacing. If we click on the gear icon of the middle row, you will see it opens up some options. Here we are. And with the general tab, you can set the spacing individually between the columns, between the widgets, and then also top, bottom, and minimum height. So you see this increases the spacing from the top and also the spacing from the bottom. We can set this to whatever we want. If I put this to 124 from the bottom, you will see that there is a 124 pixels going down. Yeah, but it looks nicer maybe if it's the same amount of pixels as top as bottom, so the text stays in the middle of the footer, like it stays centered. So now you will see there is a bit more space, 60 pixels on top, 60 pixels on bottom, and everything is aligned perfectly fine in the middle. The only thing that's now left to do is make this responsive, of course, because I have not talked about it. The main thing we will have to do is just this section here, because all the other things will be responsive because we just copied this from the home page, and we also copied this section from the home page. So if I edit this page and I go to my responsive settings, again, you can go inside of an individual block. Now I have my row layout selected. And if I then go to one of the icons, it opens it up in tablet view and it opens it up in mobile view. So this is probably going to be looking fine, but here you see it's going to have not enough space to be able to look nice. So the thing we have to do here is go inside of the, see in the tablet view, this is probably going to work fine, but we will see inside of the inspection view later on. But in this view, I already see this is not going to work out. So we go to the advanced tab and we're going to have to remove the margin. If you're doubting, you click here, you see I've put something on the right side and on the bottom side, and I've put a lot of padding also on the right side. So these are the things, because if you click here, you don't see which value you have to remove. So this right side, we have to place this to none, so this is gone. You see this already works. And the padding on is also going to be, click on none like this, and then the padding also we have to maybe put a bit less, so it's not as much as we did. You see if I hover over, if I go out, you see if I hover over, it highlights in green the right side already. So let me do this to extra small, for example, and we have removed the right margin. The bottom margin of 5% is okay because it gives me a bit of space between the sections. This is okay. If we go to the other section, same thing, but now we have to do the left side. So we go to the left, we just go one to the right and then back. So this means it's none. And then we have to go to the left here and we'll set it to the minimum, extra small. And so we continue this one, same, but now again from the right, we're gonna inset. And then the padding from the right, we're gonna set to the smallest version. And then the last one, We're gonna go to the left side, unset it, and then on the padding as well, set it to the minimum. So this is working fine. Click on update. I'll open up the website now in the inspection view here. And we'll go to here the responsive is enabled, and then here we can click on different screen size. So this is still laptop screen. This is a tablet screen. So on tablet it's just working, and maybe you can change this to 30% instead of 40, for example. That will work as well. And then if we go to mobile large, you see the margin has been removed. We might, if you want more padding, you can also increase this to not the smallest but a little bit more, so there is a bit more space, and this is going underneath each other, so this is good. But what do we see here? Our footer doesn't look well on mobile. Our header as well, this is not readable enough, so we have to fix some things in the customizer containing the header and also the footer. So how do we do this? We go back to our site here, we go to one of the pages, click on the customizer. We can open up the header settings here again, or we can just hover over and you can click on this icon, and here you have the tablet view. If we go to the tablet view, you will see we have an extra option here. You can also do this over here. You see still the logo and the trigger, and here you see the mobile navigation. So the trigger, if you click on this gear icon, you can choose between 3 default things, and you can also add some text if you would like to. Then it means that next to the icon, if I now click on publish and refresh, it will not only have the, now you see the text menu is next to it as well. So this is something you can set up. The design, we might want to set this to the color of green, so it's the same as in our normal header, so it's a bit more obvious. And then you can, of course, the font, we can set it to Oswald, for example. So this is our main header font size. We can put it in bold as well. We can put it maybe a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit more obvious for people to see. And then padding, I'm not going to mess with this. Okay, click on publish, refresh this, and you will see that this will already look a bit better. Here you go. Yeah, this background and these colors, it works, it's readable enough, but we can change this to another color and to another font as well if you want to. I'll show you. This is here the off canvas. If you click on this gear icon, it says what kind of layout do you want. Do you want the side panel? This is the side panel. It's not going across the whole screen. And do you want it to go from the left or from the right? If I do left, you will see the icon is here, but it slides out from the other side. If you do full width, this option disappears because now it will always open the whole screen. The only thing then you can set is the animation. So you can say I want it to scale instead of fade, and then you see it like comes from the top in, and then if you want to slice, it's going to be another animation. So this is something you can choose, whatever you like. Then content vertical align, you can say this has to be aligned in the middle. This means that the text will be in the middle, or by default it's going to be on top. If you then want to change the text itself, you have to go over here and then click on this icon, or you go over here and you click on this icon. Then you come inside of the mobile navigation, go to the design, and here you can change the colors of this, and you can also change the font of this. The off-canvas menu, if we go to design, we can change the background color. You can set this to the greenish color, for example, and then we can change the text to black, and black, just all black. This is something you can do, for example, and then the font, you can, if we want to keep the same uniform look, go back to the Oswald again, make it a bit bolder, and then make it a bit bigger here as well, and then maybe increase the letter spacing also a bit. So this is a really easy and quick way to make your layout of your mobile header a bit more fancy. If we go to the bottom, we have our footer. If we click here, the easiest thing to do is just go here inside of every row, you click on the icon, and then you go to the general settings and you align everything to the middle. This is already aligned to the middle, and then this one as well. Then you have them all stacked together and all nicely in centered mode. If you don't want this, you can of course also say that the layout you see is 3 columns on desktop, if we go to mobile, you can say I want it to be like this, 2, 2, and then 1 on bottom. Or I want a small one, a big column and a small column, but you see if there is too much text, this doesn't really work too well, so I often do this for a footer on mobile, okay? This is something you can choose, and if you think, I want this to be on top, not this menu that probably nobody is going to click on, you switch to this, and then you see it collapses in a different order, so the icons are coming first and the cookies are last. Voila, I think we have done everything we have to do. Nice work if you have followed along completely. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you want a specific guide for something else, also please let me know. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.